Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm John Barban. With me is Jeff Dover, and let's talk football.
We're doing another one of our State of Affairs episodes today. So this is the great state of California. A lot of football to talk about here. A lot of different teams. There's really good high school recruiting in California and a lot of college and pro teams to talk about.
Yeah, the high school recruiting is specifically really good for offensive skill talent, like QBs and wide receivers. And I guess that'll just lead me to thinking about USC. That's why I'm wearing the shirt today. The offensive skill talent that they have should be pretty good, but in our theme of coaches and QBs and continuity, we have a new starter, Jaden Maiava. I guess he had a couple of starts, but this is his first full year
for like
starting.
1,800 yards or whatever.
This is his first full year starting with Riley in that system. So we'll see. And then I thought about this. He's not as high profile as some of his previous starters, like Caleb Williams or Jalen Hurts or
this is what
Kyler Murray.
This is what I have written down here. He goes, "Is this the worst QB Riley's had to start a season with in some time?" And I don't mean that he's bad. I'm just saying that compared to all the other people that you just listed, is that, to me, this is sort of the lowest rated recruit. And he's fine. Like he showed signs of being really good. I think Miller Moss might have lost the job and he might have taken it from him, Maiava, that's fine. But that's what I had written down. I said, I think this feels like the worst QB that Leonard's had to start a season with. Lincoln Riley. Sorry, that's had to start a season with. So, but
yeah, I mean, as far as like a high school star rating, Mayfield was a walk-on, 3-star walk-on at Oklahoma. He ended up winning the Heisman. So Riley can work with sort of whatever. Now, maybe that's not a good example because now he's a great player in the pros. So you can kind of throw the star rating out because look where he ended up. But then Kyler Murray was a highly rated player. So he's kind of worked with everything.
Caleb Williams,
but Spencer Rattler was a 5-star, but that was a weak class and he didn't really work out too well. Then I thought Miller Moss looked pretty good, but I guess it was just turnover problems. But a lot of those games they were in the fourth quarter and their defense blew it. I'm still surprised that Moss is gone. I know they say he had some turnover problems, but obviously Riley saw something there he didn't like. And I guess you'd trust Riley's opinion on QBs at this point.
Yeah, no, again, it's continuity with coach and QB, but I'm just like, in terms of going into a season with a QB, this isn't the best. This is by far not the best one the Lincoln Riley's had going into the season. And the other thing, I can't think about USC, and you mentioned it too. When is the defense going to be fixed? It feels like the USC defense has been the problem for some time. And so
it did improve under Lynn's first year last year. So if he can keep that momentum going.
But you just said there was a reason why they lost some games last year, was the main.
Well, it was even worse the year before.
True. So, so I'm hoping that so do you think that this is going to be the most competitive defense they've had in the last 3 years?
I would think so. I mean, this is a second season with Lynn, right? Last year was just his first season. So, and it did improve. And theoretically, if that offense can keep putting up points the way any Riley offense does, the defense doesn't have to be world beating. It just has to be better than what it was last year. So I guess, you got to give the defensive coordinator a couple of years anyways, right? So I'm assuming it's going to be better.
And it was really bad. So, it was really bad. So yeah, like it improved, which is good, but it's still it feels like Lincoln Riley's been defined by good offense and defense not quite good enough. That's what I think of when I think of him now. And I feel like
that's what it's been.
Most UFC fans would really love a significant improvement in the defense. So,
and in their heyday, that was their calling card. Their defense was just lights out.
Yeah, USC's got a nice schedule. So they played Missouri State and Georgia Southern at the beginning, then at Purdue, which is not going to be a problem. Then they host Michigan State, which was a nice little ramp up in competition. At Illinois, good road game to start. Then they get Michigan at home, and then at Notre Dame. So those two games are going to be critical right there.
That's a good first, 4 to slowly ramp up into tougher competition.
No, in my mind, it's the perfect start to the season. It's
Yeah.
exactly a ramp up. You get a couple of road games in there, but then you get a home game against Michigan, which is going to be critical. Then at Notre Dame is going to be really big. So then they finish. They've got Oregon late in the season too. Those are all be
Is that
Big
on the
Ten.
road or at home?
That's at Oregon. So those are all Big Ten contenders. So that's going to be. But the schedule sets up nice. So yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if they can keep the momentum going from the end of last year, at least with Maiava. Like if this is going to be, another year in the system with Riley, we'll see what he can do with this QB. But there's no reason for this team not to be competitive for the Big Ten title every year. The resources, everything's there. Do you think if it's another bad season, do you think he's on the hot seat?
I think I wouldn't be surprised. I think that it's one thing when you have dynamic offense and the defense just can't quite hold it, then you're winning a lot of games like that, but this is they haven't been. If it could be viewed as another subpar season if they it's like 7-5 or something like that would be not good. So
yeah.
But in terms of expectations, I was thinking that going in, I was thinking about all the teams in California, college and pro. Does any team have higher expectations than the 49ers this year? Like, I feel like everyone's expecting them to bounce back fully because they had a bit of a down year last year with the injuries. But
okay, that's an interesting question. Does any team actually have higher expectations, or should another team have higher expectations?
Yeah, either one, because I don't think,
yes,
I
the
think
Rams.
they've got, you think the Rams have higher expectations than the 49ers?
I think the Rams could be a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah. Do you think the 49ers, so
they're better than the Niners? They're just better.
You think so?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Okay.
That defensive line, the thing is, the Rams hit on multiple draft picks, which we did an episode, I don't know, a month or two ago about teams that have hit on draft picks or not. The Rams, after Aaron Donald retired, it kind of looked like, and then Von Miller had, that was his swan song there. And now he's sort of puttering around, but he's not the Von Miller that the impact player he used to be. So it looked like they got Stafford, they got a defense, they rented some players, they had Ramsey, they had Miller, and then, okay, they got their Super Bowl. And it felt like, okay, yeah, that's fair. They did the trade. Detroit turned into a powerhouse off of that trade, but the Rams got what they wanted. They got their Super Bowl with Stafford. And then Aaron Donald, it just feels like, and Leonard Floyd, like they just had all of these rent-a-players to complement Donald, and then it worked, and they won. And then it just felt like, okay, they've had their time, moving on. And then last year, out of nowhere, that defensive line looks like the best one in the league, maybe, or right next to the Eagles. It was outstanding. And that's because they hit on all kinds of draft picks. And you just sort of, to me anyways, and I'm sure the average fan thought, oh, Jesus, this team isn't gone anywhere. But it felt like it should have, quote, kind of been over. And instead, they have the cheapest defense. They're super young, and that defensive line is nasty. And if it develops any further than last year, which you would guess in the second and third year for some of these younger players, that could be easily the best defensive line in the league.
Yeah, I think that when I
go ahead.
No, so when I think of the Rams, everything you're saying is right. I just wasn't. I always felt that, like, in the state of California, I thought that people in general would think that the 49ers are more prone to be successful than the Rams right now, but maybe I'm wrong. But when I think of the Rams, the two things that struck me about the state of affairs is how the Stafford thing went down, because there was talk of him leaving or not getting an extension. They let him talk to people. He settled on a number. I think the number's good for both parties involved. And it just really struck me. We did a State of Affairs Ohio, and one of the worst things is, like, Hendrickson not being signed. They haven't signed the draft picks yet at the time of recording. And how different it feels with that organization, with the Rams versus the Bengals. You know what I mean? Like, that could have been a real disaster, like a real problem, contract looming over, like Stafford not reporting to camp or something. You know what I mean? And it was like, I thought it was handled in a professional way. He's back. The money seems right. And they got Devontae Adams, right? Which he's not what he used to be, but that's still a nice weapon to have. Like, and I think that he and Stafford could be good there. So it's no, I think you're right. I think the Rams are looking good. They're, in terms of their schedule, it's a tough one. It's sort of a mix at the beginning. So they host the Texans, which is going to be a big matchup, because that's big. And then it's at the Titans. They should be able to take care of that. Then it's at the Eagles. That's going to be a tough one. then they host the Colts, and then they have the 49ers, which I feel like is also going to be an important game in their,
Yeah, so it's a bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah, so that's but it's so that there's we're going to learn a lot about this team early on, and we don't. The other thing about the terms of state of affairs, I don't want them to have the slow start again. I feel like they've done that 2 seasons in a row.
1-4?
Yeah, they've done it like 2 seasons in a row, and as long as they don't do that, then because they always end up play better in the second half. So as long as you're not have too big of a hole, then that's good.
I mean, it looks like it's all there. Maybe it's a bit of recency bias. They played the Eagles tougher than anybody else at the end of the season in the playoffs. You're right. And they even an Eagles fan has to admit there was a very realistic chance the Rams could have won that game. It wasn't they weren't out of that game by any means. And that defensive line, again, I can't. Jesus, that defensive line's good. Verse, I'm going to say it now. Verse will be the highest paid non-quarterback when it's his turn. Like if he's healthy at the end of his rookie contract, Jesus, that's the best pass rusher in the league in 3 years.
Yeah.
No, as the current ones age out a little bit, he's the next.
He's like the Micah Parsons-esque type.
Bigger though. He's better than Parsons.
You think so?
Oh my god. Oh, he's I think he's better. He's so
disruptive. Like
so Parsons plays he can be drop back. He can kind of do everything. Parsons does that, like he's got his hand in the ground, he goes into the interior, he goes on the end, he drops back into linebacker. I don't think Verse does that sort of stuff. Verse is more of a true just pass rush specialist, but I'd put Verse right up there as like the next coming of Myles Garrett type, because he's so powerful. He's not quite as big as Garrett, but boy, he plays like he is. So anyways,
he only had 4.5 sacks.
No, it doesn't matter.
But he had 11 tackles for a loss.
No,
none
of that matters.
A lot of it, I know, but a lot of it I feel like was in like the second half too. Like I think he's ramping up. So
but you look at the tape and you're like, oh, that is disruptive. That's top five already. Like disruptive players on the defensive line. So anyways,
listed at 6'4", 260.
Yeah, I mean that's Bosa's size.
Yeah,
but man, he just seems bigger out there. I don't know. He just plays with a ton of power. Anyways, so that I think the Rams. I think they're at least in California. That to me is the premier team in all of California, pro or college.
I was going to say go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
There was the 49ers. I had I think that the injuries, I think last year was a bit more of an anomaly. I think they've got the Purdy contract handled now. I think Salah coming back to do the defense is a big deal. So I think they're poised to have a good season. So I'm excited to see
be better than
them.
what they just had.
Yeah, they got to go up. And again, I don't think the schedule isn't too bad either, especially at the beginning. So they got at the Seahawks, at the Saints. Saints are probably going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL, I think.
Probably.
So at Seahawks, at Saints, Cardinals at home, Jaguars at home, and then at the Rams. So as opposed to the Rams schedule where they've got some tough matchups there at the beginning, I think the Niners have a nice lead up into it kind of thing. So
yeah, so that first game against the Rams will be a bit of a litmus test. I don't think necessarily for the Rams, but for the Niners, because they've got people on the injury list right now. Like Ayuk is probably not going to start the season. Robinson might be serving a suspension. So the receiver room is completely in question right now. Pearsall's injured. So they might not even have some of those guys back until that Ram game. Or at least they're not going to be playing the first couple of games anyways. So that team isn't going to be what that team will be for some time. Like the first few weeks is not going to be the true starting lineup. So, and that's, God, I mean, anyways.
That Rams 49ers game, that's a Thursday night game too in that time. So that'll be on a short week.
Well, maybe I'll go to that one. All right. So, and then I guess, and so where do the Chargers fit in all this? And as far as what's the pecking order in pros in California?
Yeah, I would say they're a distant third. Is it just, I mean, and again, they were a good team last year. I don't know what when I think of the state of the affairs for the Chargers, I don't know what they've done to make themselves better this year other than lose Bosa, which I don't think is making them better. So I don't know. So that's why I've got the Niners and the Rams ahead of them.
Okay. Well, they did add O'Marion Hampton, but you think they
Yeah, which is great. Like
yeah.
it's a good running back, but it's
Yeah.
Bosa was a really good talent, and you know how important that having a disruptive edge
Yeah,
player
but
is.
Bosa played like half the
Yeah,
snaps.
no,
The guy was
I'm with you.
chronically injured.
So other than Hampton, can you name anything else to like? I mean, so we're hoping that they have just as good a year as last year, and then put it together more in the playoffs.
Let me look up their draft picks.
Yeah, I
Let's
think that,
now again.
now
This
it's
is
the second
just picks,
year.
and they still have to hit, right? It doesn't
Yeah,
even matter.
it's the second year for Harbaugh. Like I think things will be,
Yeah.
more. I think he's a good coach, and I think they, he was playing. He plays the personnel he has, and I think it's the right system. So it's
Mhm.
he's not trying to implement something that doesn't fit with the personality he has. But
I mean, assuming he hits, they did pick up Kyle Kennard from South Carolina, the edge. He's pretty good, but again,
yep,
we don't know. Draft picks may or may not hit. But yeah, you're right. It's something has to get better. Maybe it's just gelling, and maybe it's just another year in his system. But it was an odd. They looked like they were on their way. They looked like things are moving in the direction Harbaugh wants them to move, and then they just get blasted in the playoffs, which was a
yeah,
weird way to end the season there.
yeah.
And I don't know if he's ever going to really want to open up the offense, but they got Trey Harris, the receiver from Ole Miss.
Who's good?
So and then Lad McConkey's amazing. I think he'll just
Yep.
continue to get better. So I don't know. Maybe it's just take another step forward. Nothing dramatic, just moving along in the offense. So I don't know. We'll see. But you actually think they're number 3 in California out of the pros?
When I'm looking at my state of affairs, California, I'm pretty jazzed about the Niners and the Rams, and I don't have anything to be super jazzed about for the Chargers other than O'Marion Hampton. I think will be a good fit.
Would you be surprised if they challenge for their division?
No, I think that I won't. Like they could challenge for their division for sure. So, but I mean, it's I think that also speaks more about it's Kansas City. The Kansas City will probably be favored in that division again.
Yeah, of course.
Denver's going to be good. So it's those couple games against Denver and Kansas City are going to be really big. All the division games are always really big. That's not a surprise, but like that's going to be I don't know if the Chargers are going to win one out of those 4 games.
Yeah, the Raiders should be better too.
Yeah.
If anything, the Chiefs should probably come back down to earth a little bit. The Broncos are going to be elevating, and the Raiders are going to be elevating. So that whole division, but the Chiefs coming back down earth doesn't mean they're bad. It's just they might be gettable now.
Yeah.
But maybe. Yeah, I could see them winning 1 of their division games, the Chargers, but I also could see them winning 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, I don't think more than 4, but it could be anywhere in there, and I wouldn't be surprised. That's just going to be a more competitive division.
They and again, we're going to find out early on because schedule wise, they host the Chiefs the first game of the season, and then they're at the Raiders, and then they host the Broncos. So that's 3 division games to start
in a row. That's how they start the season.
That's how they start the season.
What the schedule maker doing? Yeah, I mean, that's awesome entertainment wise. That's for sure.
But you got to be on point from day one. Yeah.
Oh my God! If your season could be over after game 3.
I mean,
if you go 0-3 in division in the first 3 games, the whole season's for any of those teams, the season's over.
Even 1 and 2 is a whole.
Especially because they're all division games.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound right. How did they do that to them? I wonder if anyone else is stuck like that.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, that's the pros here. I mean, the other notable college team. Well, there's a few, but the other bigger notable college team is UCLA. And
surprising we've made it this far without talking about Nico.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about here. They were the center of the offseason controversy, probably for a couple of weeks there. The biggest college offseason storyline was Nico and what happened at Tennessee and how he ended up at UCLA. I actually did a couple of episodes on it. It was kind of fun as that kept unfolding.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what to expect. That seems like the whole thing seemed odd. The whole thing about the money, it seems like he actually didn't even get any more money to be there, but did he just want to be closer to home? And that whole thing was weird because his brother was committed to UCLA and bailed on them at the last minute to go to Arkansas, then bailed on Arkansas at the last minute to come back to UCLA.
Yeah.
So that whole thing is I mean, it makes them interesting. I don't know if they're going to be really good in that in the Big Ten, but they're interesting.
Yeah, as a fan, I'm just disappointed because I thought his next year at Tennessee would have been great. I think Tennessee's a much better team than UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
And when we had our crazy early preseason picks and bets, like I was thinking that Nico or Tennessee was a good sleeper pick for either the Heisman or winning the SEC because of that, because of one of the few returning QB situations.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's just like any other situation. It's a new QB at a new place with a new coordinator and a team that's going to be okay. So,
Yep.
I don't
in
have
our
any
theme of head coach and quarterback continuity. There's none there.
No, and I don't, for UCLA, it's an upgrade, but I don't know. Again, I don't know what your expectations are like if you're a UCLA fan this year. I mean, it's nice to have Nico, but I don't know how good the team's going to be around it. So,
I think it's, yeah, I mean, I think they could just be middling as usual.
Mm-hmm.
Now his performance last year is not something you'd look at and think, oh, he's completely elevating UCLA to compete for the Big Ten.
Right.
That's
exactly.
not what his performance looked like. They were getting by on a stellar defense and a stellar run game.
Yeah. So
in Tennessee.
Now schedule wise, they miss Michigan and Oregon out of the Big Ten,
That's
which
pretty
is
good.
Sweet. Yeah. But we're going to find out early too about how things look because it's their host Utah at the first game of the season. And that's going to be a tough matchup for them, I think. And then at UNLV, which is not a nothing
Dan
game
Mullen,
either.
baby.
I know,
Dan Mullen,
not a nothing game either. So, and then they've got Penn State at home at Michigan State. I think is going to be tough for them. That's a noon start, so that's like a 9 a.m. game for them. Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to be a problem. They get Indiana and Nebraska, and then at Ohio State and Washington. Yeah. So like those are all there.
Washington at home or away?
Washington at home. So, but that's not an easy even though they miss Michigan and Oregon. Those are. And I don't know if they're going to be favored in many of those games.
And they're catching Washington when Williams has had all season to develop in that offense. So that's going to be probably, injuries notwithstanding, that's probably going to be the best look Washington team that they're going to for the season when they have to deal with them. Yeah.
They're potentially like they've got Nebraska at home at Ohio State, Washington home at USC, although even though that's sort of closer to them than than USC is for a home game.
Right. I think so.
But it's but they could lose all 4 of those games. So
yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I just don't think he's going to be a revelation. I think they're kind of just going to be the same. Yeah. Unless he has an unbelievable breakout, even though it's in a new system with a new coordinator. So I don't know. Big question mark, but interesting. They're going to be interesting to watch. I'm definitely going to tune in to see how that whole thing goes.
Yeah, I'm disappointed to say that I'll be mildly entertained if he struggles there. just from what happened, just because I wanted to see it at Tennessee.
Well, he screwed you because that was your way too early Heisman pick. Yeah, I know. The whole thing just fell apart.
It would have been good. So
it went to the playoffs in his first year. I mean, just see. There's got to be more to that story. We'll find out. It's just why would you leave that situation?
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess there's other teams in California we could talk about it. There's not much to say about Cal. The entire team disappeared.
Yeah, and that's one of the ones like we've talked about, like Vandy and our Tennessee State Affairs thing. One of the best things about that kind of a team is when you have a good season, retaining people is huge, right? And so Cal had an above average, like I think they exceeded expectations last year, mostly because the expectations were so low.
Yep.
But because of that, they lost everyone, and that's not a good sign.
Oh, so they had Miami. They had them on the ropes. And I think Game Day was there for that game.
It might have been.
And the defense just blew it at the end.
Yeah. No, and they had a good QB who left, and they've had a lot.
I think he's going to be great at Indiana.
Yeah,
and me too. And they lost every running back on the whole team.
Yeah,
I think all of them. So the expectations are just zero. Right now. Ron Rivera is the GM. It's his alma mater. He's a linebacker there, so that's kind of cool. Yeah. So maybe this wave of turning colleges becoming more pro-like. Now you have GMs. Like they never used to have GMs 5 years ago, and now you have to manage a salary cap. You have to do all of that stuff. Maybe Rivera's presence with heavy NFL experience will turn them into something more. I mean, Cal is so wealthy. I just don't understand how they can always be this bad. I mean, and they've been there a long time. They've churned out oddly star quarterback players like Aaron Rodgers, Jared Goff. They've turned out some of the best quarterbacks ever. So it's not like Cal can't be good. It's just so infrequently, but it should be. Like it should be. It should be a thing like USC, UCLA, Cal. That should be like a three-headed powerhouse at all times, I think.
I guess so. I guess to push back a little bit, I think if you're a recruit, I don't know why you would pick Cal over USC and UCLA at any time versus
if they both have starting quarterbacks and you're like, I'm never breaking that lineup at the same 4 years he's there, I'm going to Cal.
I guess so. But
you could say we have one of the greatest who ever did it, Aaron Rodgers, and currently a great one in Jared Goff. You can promote that we can develop QBs. I know it's different eras.
Yeah.
But you can at least point to Cal players doing really well in the NFL.
I guess my point is that like Florida State, Miami, and Florida, if they're going after the same recruit, you'd be just as prone to go to any of those three teams, whereas I can't believe Cal's in the same category as USC and UCLA.
I guess what I'm saying is they could be, and there's no reason why they aren't.
I got you.
There's resources there. You know that they spent $1 billion renovating that stadium, and you know why?
Way. Really?
Because the fault line goes right through the stadium.
Oh, God.
Literally, it sits right on the fault such that the stadium like wiggles back and forth from side to side.
Oh, man.
And it could theoretically, if you had a catastrophic earthquake, which we've seen, remember during the World Series, it could that stadium could fall apart. So instead of building a new one on either side of the fault, they just renovated that stadium. Cost $1 billion, so it's still the old stadium.
Yeah,
and it's got like a line right down the middle where the stadium can now flex. So it can the stadium can kind of rub against itself without breaking apart.
Oh my God.
And they spent $1 billion doing that. Why not just move the stadium a couple hundred yards one way or the other?
Yeah.
And just do a new one. Why not?
Yeah.
So if they can blow that much money on the same old stadium, you're telling me they can't upgrade their facilities and can't find a way to attract players with NIL? No. But maybe Berkeley just doesn't give a shit.Maybe Rivera will change all that. That would be cool if he changes
that would be cool.
All right, that's probably too much.
I don't have anything about. Yeah, that's a deep dive into Cal.
Yeah, no kidding, eh?
But hey, listen, it was that they were better than anyone thought. Last year, and then those players are going on to going to be impact players at a lot of other places. So it's Stanford is I don't really have anything to say about Stanford. I don't.
They always had good QBs. I actually was doing some research earlier. I mean, they went what 3-9 or whatever. They had only won 3 games last year, so there's nowhere to go but up. But they seem to always land like a good QB somewhere in a 4-year cycle. You can always look at Stanford saying, "Oh man, that guy's a 4-star. He went to Stanford." There's always a good one there, and I think right now there's a good one, at least one good one, and maybe another one already committed for next year. So they can do it. And now this is a weird year because it's this 1-year thing with Andrew Luck and just a 1-year thing with the coach, and it's understood that it's a 1-year thing. So I don't know how you recruit in that situation. So the expectation this year should be basically nothing when the players themselves know this is like a rent-a-coach.
Yeah.
So, but Luck is something different. Like that, he alone might be a selling feature for some players.
Maybe.
So, I don't know. The expectations are basically zero for Stanford.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, I mean, there's a bunch of others, but I don't think we can really dig into all of the other teams like San Diego State and San Jose State. It's too deep for us. We're just hitting the highlights of the big teams.
Yeah.
But I guess who are you most interested in watching out of the teams we've talked about, college or pro?
I think that because of the beginning of the schedule, specifically with the Niners, that's the one that I'm interested the most. So I want to see them have a return to form. I want to see the defense look good under Sal at the beginning, and I think that's going to be a really big matchup with the Rams early on in the season. I'm looking for it. I want to see them this is the Niners that I thought we were going to get last year. That's the one I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, I think I'm most interested in the Rams if they can come out of the gates actually playing well at the beginning of the season, and that could set them up for a really good season.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I think that's a good place to leave it, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that's the state of affairs for California. And for Jeff Dover, I'm John Barban, and that's your Saturday versus Sunday podcast.